Hello, welcome to Code and Box Automation Lab. This is Shariful. This session it's about to see a roadmap to become a successful QA engineer in 2021. So we're going to see in details like what you need to do exactly to be a QA engineer in 2021 or upcoming days. Because I got a lot of calls and a lot of people, so they have a question how I can be a QA engineer, or how can I get a job, all those things. So that's why I feel okay, I can make it open session, so that I can share the things you need to know before you start your journey, and what the step by step from scratch to be a successful QA engineer. Okay, let's start. So first, this is you, and your journey will start, and what you need to do at the very first, to be a QA engineer in 2021. So first, very basic things you have to know, which is the manual software testing. So manual software testing is the mother of all testing. So you have to know, no matter what, you are a software developer in test, or you're a senior tester, whatever it is, but in a QA or QE, you have to be very knowledgeable about manual testing. So your manual testing will be started with all the theoretical or basic information like software development lifecycle, SDLC, or software test lifecycle, different software testing methodology or technique, right? So different type of test cases like so your black box testing, security testing, smoke testing, regression testing, integration system, functional testing, non-functional testing, all different testings, usability testing or user acceptance testing, performance testing, all those testings, what does it mean, what the activities is involved with all different type of testing, you have to know very well. Those are the very basic things you have to know to start your career as a QA. And then you have to know how to write the test cases, the steps involved, the scenario when you define your test cases. You have to think a scenario. What do you mean by scenario? What would be the how you write to steps in general in English word? And then using different tools, so the very demanding tools in the market like Jira, Microsoft Test Manager, or Qtest, at least one of the cloud-based software testing test management tool you have to know very well. Using those test tools like Jira, how you are going to write a test cases in Jira in detail. So this is a use case of the test management tools that you need a knowledge and do need some practice, right? So in Jira, how are you gonna write write the test cases? What is the writing the template of the test cases, and also file the bug. What's the template looks like for to write a bug. All those things you have to know, as well as you need some practice. And also the software development methodology right now, it's Agile. It's very hot cakes. Most of the company, even big or small company, I would say more than 95% company, they follow Agile methodology. What is Agile methodology? So what is the life cycle of Agile methodology? Scrum, different event in a Scrum, right? All those is sprint, it's the time segment of the sprint, so all those things you need to know, to be a QA engineer, as well as to crack your interview and to get a job. This is the very minimum, or is your starting point to start your journey to be a QA engineer. And the next you have to move on to learning or develop your skill. You have to improve your skills. Nowadays, the QA engineer or QA job is not only limited to a manual tester. It needs some extra skill, because its technology is changing, and it's the software whole world has been changed. So and the technology is moving so fast, so they expect some sort of advanced improvement or skill from you, not only the manual testing but also some automation. So before you jump on any automation, you heard a lot about automation. We have to think about a programming language. You need at least one programming language's solid knowledge. So it could be Java, it could be JavaScript, it could be Python. So in my personal suggestion would be start with a Java. Even though Java is a little bit complicated than like Python, a lot of people probably will say the Python. It's easy to start, but the problem is Python is not well established in terms of your web automation some tools. So later on you will see, still you can use it, but it's still in the job market. Java or JavaScript, based on Java or JavaScript, automation is much more broader range offer than Python. So I would prefer go with Java, but if you feel it's Java is too much complicated, then I will say okay, let's start with Python, because overall the programming language, the concept, the logic, all are same, just the syntax is different. So if you start with Python, go with the Python or Java or JavaScript, because nowadays it's JavaScript very popular nowadays. It's because and then all the new the web frame they are using, like based on Angular JS, so all are based on JavaScript. So the people they expect that to have some sort of same programming language knowledge to build their automation framework, as they are building the same language for their application. So JavaScript is nowadays much more acceptable as well. It's a lot of jobs based on JavaScript, but that shouldn't be problem even though you have a knowledge for Java or Python. As I said, overall the language, the logic, it's pretty much the same, just the syntax is different. If you can understand at least one language, you can pick up another one very quick. So after you learn one of the language, next move to web automation. So nowadays you will see all application is based on web, right? It's the desktop based application age are gone. It's very few company they use the desktop application, so all are based on web application. So you have to know, and most of the job for automation developer or automation QA engineer or even just a QA analyst, still you need to know some sort of automation skill. So and automation, when you talk about automation, mostly they prefer they see about that you have some sort of skill knowledge about web application or web automation, which is based on a couple of tools. Is very famous. I wouldn't say tool, a lot of people they say tool, but it's you can say right now it's an API actually, because you have to develop your framework from the scratch. You have to add up all of the plugins, all those things. So it's an API. It comes with their own library function, and then you can build your framework as you need. But anyways, just for understanding, you can say right now it's a tool like Selenium WebDriver. It's a very, very popular. It's been a decade. So it's very solid. You will see most of the QA job, it's they are saying some sort of a knowledge or experience related to Selenium WebDriver that you need. So Selenium WebDriver, it could be based on Java, JavaScript, Python, because Selenium is support all different languages. So just to learn Selenium WebDriver for your web automation skill, based on any language. And after you've done it, you can consider to learn another automation tool is called Cypress. Cypress is nowadays it's getting very popular. It's booming. I can see next within 2 or 3 years, Cypress is going to be very demandable all over the world in terms of QA automation engineer jobs, because Cypress has some tremendous fabulous features. There's no other automation tool have right now. So Cypress is a very unique features, and it's resolved a lot of problems that Selenium is face. I don't want to explain in details, but I can see that the demand as a professional QA lead, QA manager. I know very well how demand is that the demand is getting boost for Cypress. So after Selenium is done, your next move would be try to learn Cypress, and you will not feel Cypress is, I would say, much easier than even Selenium. Cypress is not, the script is based on its own command. So unlike Selenium, you have to build your framework from the scratch, everything. But Cypress comes with this inbuilt framework, which is called Mocha, and all you have to know mostly like the Cypress command, and you can start your project. And what tools you are using, like Selenium or Cypress, one of the very famous, there's a lot of frameworks they use in to build the automation project. So like you heard, like data driven, keyword driven, or different other frameworks. But I would say learn at least one on the top of all this framework. Learn at least one framework is called Cucumber, or behavior driven drive framework, which is BDD. In a actual world, the BDD is very famous because it's for the infrastructure of the BDD. It's easy to understand the test cases in plain written in English language, so anybody can understand what test cases, what scenario you are running on your project. And even though behind the scene it's linked with the actual code, but since it's based on the written English, so everybody can understand, even a non-technical person. That's why BDD it's a very famous framework. So try to learn your project based on BDD framework, whether you are using Selenium or Cypress. So after you complete your web automation knowledge or some experience, move on API. So API testing, almost every company now they are doing API testing, because API testing is very demandable because of their services. API, it means I can give you a very simple example. Say example, you are using Air Canada website to book your flights. You will see on your web application on Air Canada, on the right side, is give you some suggestion, like based on your location, like your destination, it will give you some suggestion to book hotel, to rent a car. So those are not the core application features from Air Canada, but still it's showing up there, which is this is a side business nowadays, everybody does. And how these things, this the hotel, the advertisement is coming from hotel.com or other application. They are using the API call. They are using the API or web services from hotel.com or from other company, and they just share the profit between these two company. So API or web services is very, very famous nowadays. Every company, they have the API. They have the some sort of API testing. So you have to know at least one or two tools to do some sort of API testing in the market. It's Postman, SOAP UI, Rest Assured. Those are the very famous tools to do the API testing. At least one. I would say probably go for the Postman. Okay. So once again, an API, it's very, you have to know right after you finish your web application. And after that, move on mobile automation. As all the application, all the web application nowadays, it's they can use, they have some sort of web the app, whether it's Android or iOS, right? Even in Windows. So it's especially Android and iOS. So you need to know some sort of mobile automation testing too. In the market right now, it's not that many options. It's only one tools they are using. It's called Appium. So Appium, in fact, is the extension of Selenium. So if you know the Selenium web application over here, Selenium automation for web automation, you know already, I would say 60% of Appium, because most of the command in Selenium you are going to able to use in Appium. So it has some extra command that you need to know, which is very uniquely used for mobile automation, but the concept would be same, your framework would be the same. So when you know the web application automation, especially based on Selenium, you know it Appium, and Appium is, as I said, extension of Selenium, and this is the only one option till now. There is no other the company bring up the new idea for the mobile automation, so it's limited to Appium, right? So after that you move on. This is pretty much after the mobile. From the mobile, you can consider to be a senior automation engineer, or senior QA, that they need to know some sort of performance testing, because performance or load testing, it play a very vital role for the efficiency, to define the efficiency of your application. So nowadays company, they also emphasize to do some sort of performance testing. And the market, Jmeter is very popular nowadays. It's the free apps or tools, and HP load runner has been a long time in the market, but it's quite expensive. So at least I would say go for the Jmeter. Okay, so go for the Jmeter. It's a free tools for doing performance testing, and it you will do some sort of scripting, but it's not that difficult. Okay, and then beside all those things, you parallelly, for your web application, your API testing, you are going to learn few more tools, few more technique, I would say, like project build management tool, like based on Maven or Gradle. So when an application, the build, either developer or automation developer, either application developer or automation developer, they have to create a project. So when you build a project, there is a project build management tool available in the market, which is based on, could be Maven or could be Gradle. So you have to know either any one of them or both. It's not that difficult, because without knowing Maven or Gradle, you will not able to build your project for your automation framework. So you are going to learn or follow one of the build project management tool that will give you some project managing idea or knowledge, that how you can build and manage your project across your team. So there is a two technology, it's Maven or Gradle. So either any one of them you can learn, or both. And also for API testing nowadays, microservices testing is very necessary, I would say. It's not only the popular, it's a very necessary. It means API. What is the API? API, it's like a middleman. It's listen to your command and it gets the response from the your backend, from your server. That's the API does. It does the communicate between your front end and your back end, right? And microservices, it's like individual module. So nowadays your application, you will see if it's a big application, is divided by some module. Every module, you can say, does some specific job, and that module you can say microservices. It means microservices, it means you are dividing whole services between some micro part. So so those micro part or micro module, it's called microservices. Each and every module does some specific job, and together it's a complete software or complete application. So every module, you have to do some sort of, you build some sort of test cases to confirm that module it's working as is expected. So that's the called microservices, and it's a part of API testing. So when you're going to do or learn API testing using any one of the tools, you are going to learn also or do some sort of microservices testing. And for the microservices testing, for doing this, people, they use JUnit, which is based on Java, or TestNG is a specific plugin or tools for Selenium. So either you will learn it when you are going to do Selenium project. You are going to, as a test automation developer, you are going to learn TestNG, the different features of TestNG. So you are going or you can do some JUnit project too. So back to over here after the performance testing. Nowadays, if you wanna be really senior or even lead level, lead position, you need some sort of DevOps knowledge, because in last couple of years, especially last 2020, the QA and the DevOps knowledge merge very closely. So QA, the company, they are now expecting that you will have some sort of DevOps knowledge. What does it mean? It means some of the very minimum features or component, or you can see some knowledge how it works, some of the features of DevOps, like CI/CD. What does it mean, CI/CD? Continuous integration, continuous deployment. So how the concept works in DevOps world. Yeah, the company, they expect to know that what do you mean the CI/CD? Because when you build a project, you're not going to build a project. You'll build the project in your local machine, then you push the code to a some central repository, which is called GitHub, or GitLab, Gitbucket. There's lots of web services nowadays, central repository services, and from there you are going to connect your project with another web services or CI/CD pipeline. That's the CI/CD comes to the picture, pipeline, so that you can run your script without your local machine in a server or in a virtual machine, or even nowadays it's called the Docker Docker image or container. You can run your script, your test script, or your test cases right through the Jenkins pipeline. So the whole concept, writing your test cases, push to the Git repository, and link with a CI/CD pipeline job, which is right now is very famous. This is Jenkins. The whole concept, it's a part of the DevOps. So they expect that you would have some sort of knowledge about the DevOps, because it's you are not going to write the test cases, but also you have to follow some of the trend. It have to be stored in central place, and after that it have to be able to tweak your script without any local machine. So how all those things works, right? And then when there is a new code added to the project, it automatically builds the script, so that you can see that it's your script running exactly as is expected, or it's pass fail, all those things. It's you can make some schedule so that it run every day, every night, and end of the night complete your test cases or script run. It will give you a report, build automatically report, and report will be sent to by the email to upper management, or even you can integrate with the Slack. That's another tools, so that everybody can be aware about the report. So all to make the all the system automatic way, DevOps or CI/CD comes to the picture. So you need some sort of knowledge about CI/CD, Jenkins tools, GitHub repository, even a Docker. Last few years, Docker is getting more popular. Other than like Docker is like a virtual machine, it's like a virtual image. We all know to running our test case in virtual VMware or virtual machine, which is very heavy loaded. You need a dedicated machine for this. For Docker, you don't need even a dedicated machine. You can you can build the Docker image, a container on your own machine even, right? So the Docker Docker is very lightweighted. So it is a lightweighted image, virtual image on the top of your operating system. So Docker is very handy, very lightweighted, and it's very popular. So you need some sort of knowledge about the Docker too, if it's possible, or you want to be like a lead position. But at least CI/CD, Jenkins, GitHub, you need a knowledge for sure. Okay, and then the advanced part that you need to know, that's the last part, I would say, cloud testing. Cloud testing, probably you heard a lot about the cloud, the keyword cloud. What does that mean, cloud? Cloud, it means all the web application nowadays is hosting in some sort of cloud platform. It could be AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. So those are the three big companies. They have cloud facility. It means now you don't need to make your own server in your office to run your or to host your application. Now they can rent the space from those cloud platform, and they can host their application and run it up there. And it's not only performance wise the best, but also it's cheaper. Like you will pay, it has a lot of features. It's a cloud is huge nowadays. The cloud computing is huge. So just very shortly I can tell you that most of the web application, that's why everything, all the software is moving to web application, because they are launching, they are hosting their application in a cloud platform. Everybody is moving to cloud. AWS, you will see the Azure, mostly AWS and Azure. So you have to know how you can host, run your script other than the virtual machine to the cloud platform, because this application is moving to cloud. So they want to build your framework and execute your framework, everything also in cloud platform. Like in AWS, they have the there's the features or cloud computing options like EC2, or bit the buckets or others. There is a lot of they have the choice to host your application, to host your script, so that you can run your script up there. Okay, so those are this is, I would say, a little bit advanced. You will be still okay without writing your test cases or launching running your script or your frameworks in cloud computing. But if you want to go in advance, improve your develop your career, move on some sort of leading position, you need to know this, the cloud testing. Okay, one common things I forget to add over here, that you need to know SQL. The SQL, it's a very basic things. The database language, you have to know MS SQL or Oracle. It's MS SQL. It's the better option. MS SQL, it's one of the very very initial things that also you need to know beside your manual testing. Okay, so SQL, just remember, all you have to know very basic things like how to retrieve the data. Some of the very basic SQL command, like a different select command, some different the join, like inner join, outer join, left join, right join, between the few tables, how to retrieve the data. That's the main thing from the SQL. All you have to know. You don't have to write any programmability. You don't have to write any function, because you are not the SQL developer or to the backend developer, right? All you have to know how to retrieve the data from the backend as per you do some test cases. When you're doing testing, you have to retrieve some of the data, and then you are matching your backend data with the front end data. So to get the data, retrieve the data, you have to know some of the SQL in a command, or the SQL the programming knowledge, so that that when you know the table name, column name, so that you can retrieve some of the data from a specific table, a specific column. Sometimes you need to do some of the joining between the couple of tables to get your actual data or expected data. Okay, so that's the overall idea, or roadmap to be a successful QA engineer in 2021 or upcoming years. Okay, so start with the very basic things. Don't be rushed. I mean, the computer, job or IT job, especially QA job, even even development, this is like you are a student forever. It's pay back you good money, good salary, benefits, and with respect, but you are a student forever. Just remember that you have to keep update yourself. The technology is changing, so you have to adopt the new technology. So in 2021, that's pretty much the roadmap, I would say, and probably another couple of years this will be the roadmap will be pretty much same. But in the meanwhile, you may see this new automation tools comes in the market. Like as I said, is Cypress. Cypress is going to be very famous within next couple of years. I can see it, right? So right now you are okay with the Selenium, but as I said, so you have to always learn the new stuffs. But if you start your journey and you have a mission that you will be always, you wanna be a good, you wanna a good career, build your career, and you wanna move on with the with your mission, then you will be, if you are just learning one by one, you will see this road is not that difficult. If you have a long gap, you just start and you didn't get a job within 6 months, and you said no, it's not going to work for me. If you look down, that's not going to work for you. You have to keep learning these stuffs and think positive, and just learning these stuffs. There is no escape without learning the new stuffs, without learning the stuffs. So this is the basic key points, or the learning the stuffs that you can learn step by step, from starting from here, at least finish up until mobile automation or including the DevOps part. Performance testing, still you will get a job without a performance testing, I can tell you. Okay, even though it's not that difficult, but you need to know mobile automation, API testing, some DevOps knowledge, to crack your interview, and probably mobile automation. It depends on the company's application. If they and pretty much most of the company they have the now mobile apps, so you can expect that probably you will be part of the mobile app automation too, right? And then if it's possible, go for performance as well as cloud testing too. And nowadays there's lots of tutorial you can find in YouTube, you can find in Udemy, a lot of other the web platform. It's available for learning these steps. You don't have to go to the university or college. All you have to know your roadmap, your plan, and follow your plan, your roadmap, execute it one after another one. Be patient, think positive, you will be success. Hope this will help you and give you all initial questions before you start your journey, before you think like, is that a right choice for you, is that the road for you, is that the right career for you. And I hope this will give you overall idea. And then if you think you are able to invest some time, invest some money, don't think about the money. It's probably you need to purchase some tutorial, probably you need to find some right mentors, right, who have the industry experience. Don't think that you have to spend some money. You have to spend some money because it will change your career, it will change your life. So don't be cheap, think cheaply, like so I will able to do everything without money. That's not possible. But don't think about it, just think about for long-term outcome, your life-changing career. Okay, I hope that's enough for today. And ping me or write a question below. If you have any query, let me know. I'll try to help you, give you the answer. Thanks a lot, and have a good one. Bye bye.